I'm your host, Young Abachi. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify by searching Blog Access 101. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. This is episode 282. We have a special guest today, Courtney Hall from HallNetwork. How you doing, Courtney?
Hi, doing well. I'm so glad that I'm on your show. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Appreciate you coming on. We'll jump right into it. Just give a brief introduction of who you are and what you currently do.
Well, I'm like you said, Courtney Hall. I'm with Hall Network. So I'm in media entertainment. I do interviews, red carpet, event lifestyle. That's probably not a word or a phrase, but I'm making that up. So event lifestyle. And by day, I'm in HR. So I work for one of the top LNG companies in the country right now. So their competitors are Shell and Exxon and all of that good stuff. So I'm living a pretty fun life right now.
Like I said, because that be sound like you wearing many hats. So, um, but yeah, but what inspired you specifically to start Hall Network?
Well, I wanted to graduate with my bachelor's, and I was spending too much time in school. And I said, you know what? I need to buckle down, and I need to, stop dancing because I danced before I got into media, like doing interviews. And so that's one of the things, doing interviews. I was always interested in doing it. If you talk to my mom, she's like, you always had a microphone in your hand. So I was like, you know what? To still be creative and to get out of school, which my dad wanted me to do, I said, you know what? I'm going to start my own show. It's not going to be too strenuous and I'll be good to go. So that's what started everything.
That's pretty cool. I say this to my students all the time because people want to just be in college forever. But then when your parents or whoever is like they paying, they're like they gotta go and get out of here. I'm tired of paying this bill.
Right.
Uh,
Like, you know what? You're about to start paying for this. And I said, oh, okay. All right. Give me a couple semesters.
that's when you're like, all right, let me go ahead and finish this degree. Um, but yeah, I saw definitely with the you're talking about you was a dancer as well at UH. But that was pretty lit. And then I like this woman does everything, so that's pretty cool. It's always cool to see people like having different skills and personalities, and have find a way to connect them into one area. And I feel like definitely like the poise you have to have in dance, I feel like that coincides with the poise you have to have in media, having that good flow and good interaction with the people that you interview. Because sometimes you see a lot of interviews and it's like mad awkward. And you're just sitting there because it's like people just like going from question to question instead of like somebody says like the person you're interviewing says like something pretty interesting, maybe want to ask some follow-up questions on that. I feel like sometimes people just try to be scripted. But yeah.
I can't. Well, I'm shaking my head like yes, but I can't be too judgmental because when I first started doing interviews, there was one person in particular. He was so dull and boring, and I allowed him to create the flow and set the tone of the interview because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to push the envelope. Um, but what I learned as an interviewer is you really create that tone. You set that tone, you create the vibe, and people go off of you. And so I did three other interviews and I did one before him. So in total, I did four interviews that day. And the first interview started high, his interview was way low. And then I felt like after that, I couldn't pick up my energy. So yeah, I can't be too judgmental because I totally understand what you're saying. But yeah, it's just crazy whenever you get those ones who are shy, or they just have a low energy. It's always crazy.
Yeah, because it's funny because I was always the laid back guy, and there's like, and I realized when I do like media things like with the podcasts or interviews like this, I gotta have like more energy.
Yeah.
So it definitely took a little bit for me to get used to get out of my, like, I guess you say, the comfort zone or shell. But I feel as though once you like that you go through those trial and errors, you see what you're good at, what you need to work on, take that constructive criticism, people that's been in the field longer than you have, and just learn from that and grow. So, some people, I mean, that's easier said than done sometimes. Sometimes, people are passionate about what they do and they might take it uh, a little personal. And I get why they might, but it's like, if you really want to get to the next level, you just got to take those criticism and just figure out a way to get better. So, yeah. But yeah, what does Hall Network mean to you, like personally and professionally?
Personally, Hall Network was originally just supposed to be a network of different people. Like, even with, I had a dance company. I'm just telling you everything. I had a dance company called Feel the Beat. And the purpose of that was to create a dance team where we could go around and we can get paid and everybody can get paid and everybody can get on. And I even created a YouTube page, and I wanted to do interviews to showcase the dancers that are out there, because people would reach out to me all the time and say, "Hey, do you have a dancer for this show?" Or "Do you have a dancer for this artist? Do you have a videographer?" So my mindset was, okay, let me do these interviews, let me post them. And whenever somebody comes to me and say, "Hey, do you want a dancer?" I can, or "Hey, do you have a dancer?" I can just say, "Hey, go to my YouTube page and you'll see their whole life story on there." And then it kind of just evolved into me interviewing people who are doing great things for their community, for themselves. So that's how Hall Network came about, personally and then professionally.
It's pretty cool to, you see a lot of time, you have sports agents, having players and they have like film and things like that, but you never heard too much like dance coming. So that's pretty lit though. How long did you do that for? Are you still doing that or just that's what you just started off with?
Yeah, that's what it just started off with. And then it just evolved into what it is today.
I like the pivot though, but that's pretty cool though. And
Mhm.
I'm sure definitely we know even with sports cheerleaders, dancers, and then you like talk about like music videos, so that's always a big thing. So I'm sure that was a pretty big hit back then. How do you choose topics for your this is a two-part question. How do you choose topics for your content, and then who is your target audience and how do you engage with them?
I let the spirit move me. That's what I do. No, of course I research. So if I'm wanting to interview a person, or if I'm wanting to do like a trending topic, I do my research. I see what, they're doing. I see what is going on in the world, and then I try to pull questions and things like that from them. The people that I interview, I actually want to interview them. Like, I'm actually curious. I'm a very curious person. So I'm very curious about the people that I want to interview. So that kind of gives me more fuel to, okay, this is what I want to ask. This is the direction that I want to go, so on and so forth. What was the second part to your question?
I was saying, who is your target audience and how do you engage? When we talk about that, I think you really kind of touched on it already a little bit when you talk about something like your curiosity, like you really engage with trying to see what they want and like do the research. And I feel like that's a huge component in media or anything, honestly. Where once the person that you're interviewing is seeing you're prepared, it's like, okay, this person took the time and the due diligence. So let me do the due diligence by giving them a good interview by
Yeah.
being having that high engagement or energy to
Mhm.
match.
For sure. Definitely for sure.
So who was your favorite person to interview? I mean, I feel as though I know who it is, but I'm just gonna ask anyway. Who was your favorite person to interview, and also who was your dream person that you would like to interview?
You know what? So somebody else asked me this question. I feel like all of my interviewees, my episodes, they're like my little bitty babies, like, so I feel like all of them are my favorite. Now, there's one interview that I have not posted, and that's because he ended up lying about who he was, and the pictures he like
Boy,
Holmes picture with him. It was crazy. So I don't want to interview him again, but everybody, I feel like they're my favorite in some way, because going back to what I said before, there's something in everybody that I wanted to learn about, and wanted to, get to know a little bit more. So, but who do I want to interview in the future? Beyonce.
oh, that's right,
Girl,
Beehive.
call me.
Well, that's right.
Yeah,
Um,
say Beyonce, and then I would also say Wendy Williams. If I Mhm.
really good talk show host. Um, but yeah, I know I definitely looked at some of your interviews with the Gary Owen one. Like I like how you do your interviews. Like you try to like show the world something new about them, but that they can't see from the outside looking in. Like I don't ever knew Gary Owen was in the real estate and haven't seen that interview, which is pretty cool. Because it was pretty cool like seeing people like obviously that's famous as comedians and they're finding a way to pivot. Because I always say you don't want to keep all your eggs in one basket. Use that company money to go get in real estate. And then also like a couple other ones I like that you've done. I've seen like a couple of reels on Instagram with them like expanded heritage month. That was pretty interesting. What got you into like start doing things of that nature?
So I actually was asked to do media for it's called the Spoil Latina Summit. If you
Okay.
A beautiful summit, absolutely beautiful. I did, the red carpet, and then I did any interviews because they had a low ton of vendors. And so I had all this content, and I'm like, what am I going to do with this content? And then I was researching because I'm a researcher. So I'm like, how can I spend some of this content where I can do a series or whatever the case may be? And then Hispanic Heritage Month came up, and I was like, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So, yeah.
You know, got to get to the bag, but it was pretty interesting as well. Because of course we don't see enough of that on social media or in general. So that was good that she was able to go out there and shine a light on that summit and just try to bring out the best in that summit and get people that might not know, like myself, like, okay, let me check out to see what this actually is. So that was pretty cool. And then also I saw the other one you did on it was on YouTube dealing with like race, but then like the Republican and Democrat side. I was like, oh boy. But it was pretty good the way you moderated it because those conversations can either go good or they can go real left.
Yeah.
And I personally don't think there's really an in between that because you start talking about politics, race, those are very touchy subjects, specifically in today's time. But I feel like you handled it well as moderator, and I feel like both sides were like, obviously critical, but also listen to both point of views, which you typically don't see from Republicans and Democrats.
Because you know what it is? This is the secret sauce, people. I set the tone. So I learned earlier on in my career in HallNetwork, you have to set the tone. So I set the tone in every single room that I'm in. And I feel like I have some type of control over what I'm doing. It's my stuff. So I do have control over what I'm doing. So, from the moment that they came in, you could feel, it was going to go there if I allowed it to go there. But, everybody met each other. We all joked around. And then once we sat down, we had that conversation. Part one, part two is streaming on YouTube. It, like I said, if I would have allowed it to, it would have went left. It could have went left, and maybe it would have, did more numbers than what it's doing now. But I think that it's more valuable. It's more digestible. Both of them got their points across, and it just made it even better, episode. So that was one of my favorites. I guess that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, because I definitely feel those setting the tone because they know, all right, this person not messing around. You're not coming in combative or anything. It's like, all right, we're like I kind of like the favorite phrase is match energy,
Yeah.
specifically today, right now. So, if you come in with the cool, calm, and collective energy, it's like I feel as though everybody's like, okay, maybe we need to come in with the same magnitude of viewpoint. So yeah, that's pretty cool. How do you define success? Is that through like views, engagement, revenue, impact, or if you or is it something else that you like define success with?
On Instagram, this girl sent me a DM, and it was basically a screenshot of a story that I had that I posted. I was in church, and I posted on the screen, it said, welcome home, or something like that. And so she sent me that screenshot, and she said, because of you, whenever you posted this made me want to go to church. She's now a member of that church. She's involved. She's like a leader. And I feel like that is success for me. The other day, somebody commented and said, thank you so much for sharing. I did the Hispanic Heritage Month. And on the wrap up video, she was like, thank you so much for sharing. And something else. She said something else. But those things are like, okay, you know what? I'm doing something good. Like, especially bringing somebody to God and she got saved and all that good stuff. That's like the biggest reward. So, of course, I want a little check too, I want a little coin. But I think those are more rewarding for sure.
I feel you on that one. Whereas though, obviously the impact they're making with people wanting getting someone to join church and getting saved, that's always bigger than anything. Amen. But also like, just having that engagement where people are seeing your content and not just liking it and just going on to the next thing, but actually taking time to look at it. It might even like also sharing your content, and maybe she might touch somebody else to go to church, or as well as with the Hispanic Heritage Month. She's seeing like, oh, this lady, this woman is taking time and shining light on something that's not typically shined on. So that's also going to bring in more engagement and probably more followers. I'm sure she probably shared on her story or other social medias, which brings more people that's connected with that and come on the net because like, all right, because typically people follow pages that they can connect with. I tell people all the time, like especially on social media, you got 15 seconds to wow somebody. If you don't do it in 15 seconds, they go on to the next thing. That's what I tell my students. They think I'm crazy, but I'm just like, especially with this generation, it's like the attention span of a fly. If it's not funny or some catchy or a lot of color scheme, they're gonna be like, "Yep, next one." Uh, but yeah,
Yeah. And that's why it's so hard. I feel like that's why it's so hard for me and what I'm doing because I'm not, naked on social media. I'm not, somebody told me, oh, we're going to make your show earlier on. I was working with someone and he was like, you need to act like you're on Love and Hip Hop. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. That's not me. So like you said, yeah, it's super hard. And I know the road for me is going to be longer because I'm not going to just act a fool. But at the end of the day, it's still rewarding for people to reach out, for you to reach out and say, hey, I want to interview you. I feel like it's super just rewarding. But are you a media teacher?
yeah. So I teach PR and sports. So yeah, mainly in sports, but not like mainly like media, like broadcast journalism. But I teach sports media, then PR classes, communication. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. You need to be on my show. You're coming on my show next.
But that's it. I'll come on, just let me know date and time, and then I'll make my schedule free.
Oh, that sounds good.
Appreciate you. And then also my second part to that question was what strategy had worked best for your growth? You kind of briefly touched on that. I didn't know if you want to add anything else.
Yeah, yeah. I think now I feel like just being true to who I am and being consistent, that's my strategy. Before you know, um, it was other things. I was trying to, do the viral things and do this and do that, and if I do a viral challenge or whatever, that's cool, but as long as I'm being like true to myself and then being consistent, that's the biggest thing, because I'll go and I'll post a month or 2 weeks straight, and then after that I'm like, all right, I got other stuff to do, like, so I think the best thing for me is just like consistency.
You definitely feel that with the consistency and being authentic. Because a lot of times people try to, like you said, do the stuff for the viral, and it's like, yeah, it might be good for the short term, but long term is not going to be withstanding because people are going to see right through you. Like, all right, this person just doing the trendy stuff. You got to be able to be comfortable in your own skin, do what things really like. My social media team, they want me to be. At first, I didn't want to do the TikTok. But I finally got into it. It's actually like as we see now, I see like I get much more engagement on TikTok for something like the posts on there because TikTok is not having all those shadow bans. Well, as of right now, as Instagram is, and then Facebook is, I would say like the old people's social media. So we go on there just to like post or see what other family members are doing on there. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. What mistakes have you learned from? Oh, did you say something?
Oh, I was just saying there's nothing wrong with viral videos. There is nothing wrong with doing that. But my thing is when you get caught up into doing those, some of the challenges like breaking the egg on a kid's head or, jumping off 12 boxes and people are ended up, paralyzed and they're choking to death off of cinnamon, like we got to learn how to think, like, you know what I mean, so nothing wrong with doing them. They actually help you to bring other people that may not know you or your content, but you just kind of have to think it through.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the era where everybody does it like does what everybody else is doing, and they don't think for themselves. And I like to say people be having two brain cells fighting for third place sometimes, and I just be like, "What made you want to do this?" But yeah, next question: what mistakes have you learned from?
I would just say more so personal than in media, but it kind of crossed over into media as well. Learning how to say no. Me always saying like yes to everything. Or me like feeling bad about saying no. When, somebody else, they'll not even think about who you are or what's going on in your life. It's either can you do it or not? If you can't, goodbye. And that's kind of how I've molded myself, evolved myself to be not solely or not 100% kind of like a shark, but I got a little sharkness in me now. It's a no if I don't want to do something. It's a yes if I want to do something. And if you can't get with it, that's fine. Maybe we'll cross paths, another day. Um, And yeah, it's been working for me. I've been super stress free.
I mean, sometimes you gotta have that dog in you because people will try it, and you gotta let them know like, don't try me, try Jesus.
Especially in business, I deal with a lot of men, and so they think a certain way, or they think I'm going to do this, or think I'm going to do that, or they want to work with me just to go out with me, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, in business I do have to be tough. I am friendly, I'm very bubbly, I'm very like, oh my gosh, hi. But I also know how, well, I also learned to tone that down and to say no, and tell me what you want up front. You don't I used to, it's crazy because I used to get on the phone and listen to people's ideas for, 30 minutes to hours. And now it's kind of like, you only have 15 minutes. Tell me what you need, and then we're gonna get off this phone. So
No,
yeah.
that's right. 'Cause you ain't gonna talk my head off.
You're
Cause
not
time is money. And if you ain't talking something that makes sense, I'm gonna have to go and get off. But also you briefly talking like what are been some of your biggest challenges? I know you talked about like, obviously being a woman in media and dealing with a field that's particularly male dominated, and you have been setting that tone like, hey, I'm not here for the stuff and giggles. I'm actually here to do business with you as well as make money on a serious level. Yeah, we can have fun here and there, but I'm mainly here for business. So I guess I know you said that was one of your like challenges, and also how did you learn from your mistakes?
I don't know. I just got tired of sitting on the phone for hours and hours. I got tired of people bringing me opportunities and it didn't pan out to be. And once I learned that I was more respected when, I said no, and I said, hey, show me the contract, send me the contract, or, reach out to me whenever you got everything together. Like, once I was on that level and I seen the respect that I got, I was like, okay, I got this. So whenever I'm on set, or if I'm doing an interview, I'm super myself. I let myself be myself. I'm friendly, I'm bubbly, I'm this, I'm that. But when it comes to business, I'm like, let's get to it.
So you turn the head around. I'm like, all right, let's lock in. But no, I feel that's how you have to be because sometimes people just be playing around. But once they see you're no nonsense and you're serious, they're like, all right, let us come correct with everything, the details, the contract information, not with, oh, we'll get back to you with this. And obviously, sometimes you have to get back with things, just to make sure, checking with your team to make sure everything's a go. But like for the most part, like a contract and that nature, that stuff should be ready as if this person's going to say yes, and even if they don't, well, you was already prepared for maybe for the next person. Um,
The thing is, like, even for me, like, I don't have a team, it's just me and me. So I had to learn how to balance being the talent and then also running my own business. Now fortunately there's certain people that I can lean on and say, hey, can you read over this contract, or whatever the case may be. But because it's solely me, yeah, I had to learn how to twist that hat to the back and say, let's do this, like, what's going on. And then twist it back to the front and be bubbly and happy and have fun. So I learned.
especially when starting off like with jack of all trades. At least you're learning everything. Whereas let's like say like a lot of people might have a team and they might not know how to do this at all. And if something over here or that team over there is like, oh, they either jump ship or something happens with them getting sick or can't do it, now you're stalled out waiting for this people because you don't know the skill how to do it. So it's always good to learn everything or as much as possible. Um, what are some milestones you're like most proud about so far in your career?
Well, okay, I think right now I'm in a award-winning season. So I just received BEA's um
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, okay, I see her.
uh, top influencer of the year. Then I have two other awards that I'll be receiving later on this year alone. So I feel like I put so much out, and now I'm starting to get it and, receive something back. And although I don't do things for the awards, I don't do things for titles, it's just always nice, especially when Black people, acknowledge me. It's like amazing.
Like, because like you said, like obviously you do this because it's your passion, which you love, but it's also rewarding seeing other people see all the good work that you've done thus far and will continue to do, and you're getting rewarded for it by getting recognized. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Also I saw what you had the 50 plus black marketers to watch in African American marketing association. I was like, okay, look at her. I see
Okay,
you.
doing your research. Okay,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I tried to because I can't tell my students they gotta do this, and then I don't practice, but I preach. But yeah, my next question: what would you tell someone wanting to start a media brand? Well, that could be male. You could do a male part and then women's part as well.
Yeah, so I would just say just start. Like literally just start. Even if you're doing it, on Zoom, if you're doing it on Instagram Live, if you have a full-fledged studio, just start. So that's what I would say. Get your camera. And if you don't, oh, well, I don't have a ring light, that's totally fine. There's a light on your camera, or do it during the day or whatever the case may be. And then just slowly but surely build. Talk about things that you like because people can see what you're passionate about even through the camera. They can see that, they can feel that. Talk about things that you like, do things that you like, and then just build from there because all the tools that you need are truly inside of you. So just start.
Term like the toughest part for a lot of people is getting a career, just having to just start getting one foot over the other. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, but you got to start somewhere. I'm like talking about just doing it on your phones, and people are like, oh, I need this type of camera. No, you got an iPhone, or even if you got an Android.
I enjoyed.
Right. I, I might run a little too far there, but just start with whatever you have, and then just work your way up. Because as you continue to grow, so will your materials and as well as your content.
Or
So. Oh,
perfection. You're a perfectionist like me because I don't want to say anything that I probably wouldn't do. How I first started, I reached out to people. I reached out to a person that had everything that I wanted, and literally I went to a business building. We were in the hallway of a business building my first 4 episodes. So it was echoing and everything. But I started somewhere and then I just built on that. So again, just start.
it was like a good story to like go back and try to talk to people that's like trying to get in media. You tell them your story, and it was like, and I feel like that's like a breath of fresh air for people that's been like you say perfectionist and hesitant to get started. And they're like, oh, okay, well if she can do it, so can I. So it's pretty cool. My next question is, what's next for Hall Network?
Ooh, so I have another episode of the Courtney Hall show coming
Okay.
out, or another season, I would say. But I'm about to start filming actually this month. And then I'm wanting to do like a fitness series. So I have something that I'm doing, and I feel like it's kind of like a renaissance, almost like a rebirth of how we think about, fitness. For me, being a dancer, we would practice 2, 3 times a day. Then we would have our performances. Then they tell us what to eat. They tell us, when to go to sleep so we can get up in the morning, all that good stuff. And then going from that to me doing that, which I have no willpower at all to go to the gym. And then, I just wanted to make sure my relationship with working out and going to the gym was good. It's not a negative thing at all. It can be fun. And to the people that have gained weight, it took you 5 years to get to the weight you are. It's gonna take you some time to get it off. It's not gonna take you 5 days or 5 hours. It's gonna take you some time and just falling in love with that journey. So the series that I'm gonna be creating, I think it's gonna be amazing. I'm ready.
Looking forward to that fitness, because a lot of people like I feel as though not some people are like, oh, I love going to the gym, unless you're like kind of insane. I have that love-hate relationship with the gym. Every time I get to the gym door, it's like, oh, here we go. But like once I get in, I feel refreshed doing the workout, and I'm leaving. I'm like, well, I'm glad I came. Let's do this craziness again
Yeah,
the next day. So
yeah, right, right.
But also, I tell some people like there's like that try to work out. It's like you don't always have to like go specifically to the gym. You can do like maybe like bicycle. I don't like doing it because people drive crazy. But tennis. The new trend now is pickleball. So it's like it's other ways. I tell people trying to they can get active. So it's people out there be just saying, oh, I don't want to go to the gym. Well, all right, you ain't got to go to the gym. You just find what you love to do, or even when you're in the gym, just find that one or two things that you love to do that's going to keep you coming there consistently. Like they talked about earlier, consistency is key. And yes, people that think you're gonna lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks, or you saw some on Instagram, please stop watching that stuff.
Right. Not the As a dancer, I will say, as a dancer, there would be times when I saw myself, I would gain a little bit, and then I would go to the gym, run, and then I'll be okay. But I'm not a dancer, and I haven't danced for a while, so it's gonna be a little bit different. My routine is gonna be a little bit different. But like you said, you just don't have to go to the gym and hit it hard. In my mindset, my mind, going from that athlete, I would say dancers are athletes. So going from those athletic workouts to now, I'm like, okay, if I'm not doing this, then I'm not getting a good workout in. And that's not the case. You can walk, like you said, you can ride your bike. There's Pilates, there's different run clubs throughout the city. And so I'm just really excited to highlight all of those things along with nutrition. You have to eat right too.
Yeah.
So
Now that's the main thing that people keep forgetting about. It's like it don't matter how many times you go in the gym, if you're going to stop and get some go to Crumble get some cookies, or going to Wendy's get that it's not five what's the four for four deal, and it's like, yeah, you're kind of defeating the purpose here. And then you're like, oh, I'm not losing any weight. Yeah, we know because you're eating terribly. And it's like, oh, I hate that people like something like, oh, you can't eat this. No, I mean, you can really eat whatever you want. You just have to do it in portions. But people don't understand. Eating out two large pizzas, it's not going to get you to lose weight, champ.
I said it. It's not it at all.
um, but yeah, just close remarks. Appreciate you coming on. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, so you can look me up Instagram, TikTok, Courtney Hall TV, and then YouTube, it's Hall Network. You can also look up Courtney Hall TV and it'll pop up, but other stuff will pop up too. So Hall Network.
Appreciate you coming on. Hope you enjoyed the show. We definitely enjoyed you having you on here.
Yes, this was fun. Like I said, you're gonna have to come on my show. I'm gonna have to come back to your show
Yeah,
and
we got you.
go.
You just let me know.
All right, that sounds good.
I appreciate you.
All righty.